Okay, it is November 11th, and I failed to start recording at the very beginning. So you just missed Jody talking about a wonderful product we have, the biocellulose mask. So if you don't know what that is, go to Mary Kay and Touch and go to ordering and look that up. It's under TimeWise Repair. And fabulous, fabulous product. So sorry I didn't record from the very beginning, but we'll go from here. So I haven't done that in a while. I've been nervous that I was going to forget to record, but then I look and I'm like, oh, I'm recording, I'm recording. So anyway, okay, thank you, Jody, so much for doing that. Um, so next week, um, hey Stephanie, it's been a bit. Do you want to do another product knowledge next week? Is that a yes, or you're thinking about it?
That's a yes if I'm on.
If
I'm
you're
not sure I'll be here next week. So I
on.
don't want to commit to it and then
Okay, okay. All right, well then I'll give next week to Debbie. If Debbie you think you'll be okay with your open house coming up or whatever. Okay. We'll give next week to Debbie and then I'll try to hit you up the next time. So, just so y'all know in November, it's going so fast. I can't believe it. So, let me look at my calendar really quick. So, next week is the 18th. So, we are having a meeting next week. And so, we'll have Debbie do product knowledge next week. The following week, on the 25th, the week of Thanksgiving, we're not going to have a meeting. So, just a reminder, because I know people are probably going to be getting into, you know, the Thanksgiving festivities. I know I will have family here and all of that. So just, I can't believe it's already Thanksgiving. Can y'all? I'm like, how did this happen? How did this happen? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We'll hit you up the next time, Stephanie. Okay. So I'll be in touch with you on that. Okay. All right. So I am going to talk a little bit more about this, and I'm trying to decide. I'm kind of changing it up a little bit tonight, and then I'll pray about December. But I've kind of been going through this book a little bit. This is really a pretty good book. So if you need a good book, I think this is a good one. So just to kind of revisit a couple of things. I know we do this like a month apart, so it's kind of hard to remember what we talked about. But within this book, um, there's what he calls building blocks for visioneering, and there's 14 blocks, and we haven't gotten all that far, and I don't know that I'm going to go all the way through this book, but I'm going to touch on some more of it tonight and kind of revisit some of the things we talked about. And if you're just loving it, then I would recommend you get this book. And Andy Stanley is the author. But one of the things, the first block was a vision begins as a concern. And that's when we realize there's something that we want different in our life. And it may be related to a bigger problem in the world, or it may just be, something that there's just friction there. We've kind of talked about this before. Like you are here, but you want to be here. And so there's friction there. So your vision is related to something that you have a concern about. And then this one was the hardest one for me, but a vision does not necessarily require immediate action. So sometimes we have to kind of sit with what is it we're looking for? What are we doing? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight, about waiting on God. And then building block 3 is praying for opportunities and plan as if you expect God to answer your prayers. And so I think that's kind of a difference of saying, God, bring me customers. Instead of saying, God, bring me customers, maybe it is, God, give me the opportunity to be around people that, put people in front of me that maybe I could help in some way that could become my customers. So give me opportunities to be around people that maybe should be on my team, or, praying for those opportunities, and then expecting God to answer your prayers. And then last week we talked about, or the last month we talked about, God is using your circumstances to position and prepare you. So the things that are in your life, the things that are happening to you, sometimes there's a reason that we need to learn something, or whatever it is that God is putting in front of our path. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the fifth one, and then I'm going to go into some different things because I want y'all's opinion. So you guys can be thinking about this for a minute, because once I go through this, I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think the difference is between a vision, a dream, like I've dreamed of this is my dream job, or this is what I want, So what's the difference between a vision, a dream, and a goal? We're going to talk about that in a minute. So I want y'all to think about that, because we kind of throw those words around interchangeably. And so we can kind of talk about that. But the actual building block that we're going to talk about tonight is what God originates, he orchestrates. So if we do have a vision or a dream or a goal, where did that come from? Like, did I just decide this was what I wanted, or is this something I'm praying about, and so I feel like this is what God is calling me to do? Like, this is where God put me, this is the reason why I'm here, and so he originated this in my mind or in my heart. And so if he did that, then he's going to help me get there. So that's kind of what this is about. So faith, it's a lot about faith. So pursuing a divine vision, which means we really feel like this came from God, is really an act of worship. It's a declaration of our confidence in God. It's a proclamation of how important we believe his agenda to be, and for him to be honored through whatever it is we're doing. But sometimes pursuing vision will test, stretch, and at times exhaust our faith. Regardless of our role, we are never the focal point of a genuine God-ordained vision. He is. So I think we're all pretty self-centered. It's just kind of how we are. So, it's like, we're really like, what is in it for me? What is in it for me? What is in it for me? But is there something bigger here? If God's telling you to do it, is there something bigger? So sometimes only God could have engineered circumstances. So, and sometimes when we get a little bit of success, it leads to self-sufficiency. Like, we forget what we got, how we got there. So that kind of brings me, this month of November is a good time to try to retrain ourselves to be thankful for what we have and where it came from. So I think that's part of it. But before God can entrust you with the rewards that accompany success, you must be dependent on him. And success has a way of weaning us off of dependency on God. Sometimes we're like, oh, I did it. I did great. And Mary Kay is one of those things where it's hard. We give each other a lot of recognition, which I think is okay. Women deserve to be recognized for what you're doing. But I think it is also good if you feel like, you were given that vision from God, to make sure that he's getting the glory. So couple of things that it tells you to do is to evaluate the success of others. So I think that's part of the reason why we go to events. We listen to other, like, national sales directors, we hear their stories, evaluating what we see other people doing. And a lot of times they're God stories. I mean, like, they've had horrible things happen, or the circumstances are really odd, and then it's a big story after that, right? And so that, I think, is valuable, why it's important to go to those events and things like that, and evaluate your prayers. So I thought this was interesting. It said, listen to your prayers and your prayer requests. What are the things you find yourself praying for night after night? Those are your passions. Those are the things that matter most to you. So that's a thought. That's something, because I thought, have I really been praying about what is God calling for me to do in my life? What is he calling for me to do specifically with Mary Kay? Am I just asking, bring me this, bring me that? I think those are things to think about. So I think this number 5, to go back to what it's called. If he called you to it, then he's going to orchestrate it. He's going to help you do it. So let me bring this up. I put something together here. Okay. So what I looked up the definition of vision, and it says it's the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. A dream is a cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. And a goal is the object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desired result. So they are kind of similar. What are y'all's thoughts on vision, dreams, and goals? Like the difference?
I think I remember I remember when I realized that God was really there because my dad was in the hospital and he was going to have an operation where they didn't know whether he was going to be all right or not. And that was at the same time that I finished my directorship, and I prayed that if that's I didn't even realize I was gonna think this. It just like popped in my head, and you don't make deals with God, but I said, I just want to hear from you that everything's going to be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't go into all the details because it would take a little while, but it was, and it was definitely a sign. People say, oh, it was probably a coincidence and stuff. And I've had coincidences. You're not really sure, but I'm sure on many times. But I think that is a dream is something you really want to do, but you don't know if you should do it, maybe, or if it's something you want uh, to do one day, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, when you say one day,
Yeah.
sometimes we think of it's like a pie in the sky dream. Well, one day I
Mhm.
want to do this. So,
Mhm.
is there a way to capture that this is really my dream or my vision? When Jody and I were at the retreat, Karen Rydell, who's a national sales director, talked a lot about dreaming, which I think could be a vision as well. Um, and then I feel like goals are a little bit more like specific to how you're going to have that dream or that vision come about. But she talked a lot about, and I mentioned this last week about us maybe sharing a little bit more with each other about what is it that our dream goal is in Mary Kay. For most of us, it is related a little bit. It could be twofold. But for most of us, it is related a little bit to what can we pay for with our Mary Kay money. I mean, we pretty much all do need some money, right? That is the reason why we came in. But we may have other things that are important to us. Like a lot of times, the reason why we stay in Mary Kay is because we like to help women. We want women to do, you know, to look better, to feel better. We want women to, like, as you move up in leadership in Mary Kay, you want to help other women, build businesses. So it's more than just money. But I think from the start, and I think where a lot of us are, just having an extra $500 a month or being able to pay for certain things would be extremely valuable. And so I'm wondering if we really take the time to say, this is really, really what I want to do with my Mary Kay money. And it could be a practical thing, or it could be something like, a trip you've never taken or something like that. So I feel like Mary Kay is a vehicle to be able to pay for dreams, whatever that could be. It could be something small, it could be something big. And so, right now, some people would love to be able to make enough money in Mary Kay that they don't have any debt at Christmas, because a lot of people end up with some debt at Christmas. And so maybe it's that you want to make enough through your open houses or who you're selling to in the next month that you buy Christmas gifts with that. I don't know what it could be different for everybody. But I also feel like for those of us that want to bring people into Mary Kay, we got to be able to talk about this a little bit, because they are looking, if they're going to take on a side hustle, if they're already working a full-time job, which Stephanie and Jody work full-time jobs. She's had a little part-time job, but if they're going to take that on, they need to be able to see, visualize that this could help them reach something that they really want. And so I feel like we have to talk about how has that helped us reach what we have. How have we used Mary Kay money to help us reach the dream that we have, and not just giving up on that because things have gotten hard. We may have to wait on God a little bit to help us, but I feel like we don't wait by just sitting and doing nothing. We wait by praying, asking him to guide us each day, and then doing what we know we need to do, and then he's gonna guide us and lead us to where we want to be. So, but it makes me feel like for ourselves to believe in what we're doing in this business, we need to kind of have a dream. We need to kind of have something that's really important to us. And it could be monetary and it might not be monetary, but usually monetary stuff is something that's helpful. So, so I would love for y'all to think about what that is for you, and maybe I have it on here. Okay, so I think that if you're not clear on what your vision or dream is, or you're like, well, I kind of, like Debbie said, well, someday I want to do this. If you're not totally clear, then I think that all of us should spend time praying about it and asking God to show it to us so that we're kind of sure, what is it? Why do I come to meeting every week? Why am I willing to take my time out of, why do I love what I'm doing, and why do I take my time out to learn more? So, for me, practically, I know I need to make enough profit each month to help my son reach his dreams. And so there's a specific number that we came up with monthly that I have to make because we have a budget. And so that motivates me, because if I think about what I pray about, I mostly pray about things for my children. So I do know that's important to me. But there could be more to it than that. And, that's what I wanted to explore. And so if there is truly something you want to pay for, I think as your director, like, I could help you determine how much profit you need to make to cover it and the time frame that you think you need. So, kind of set a time limit on it. Like, don't just say, well, hopefully in 3 years it'll work out that I get to do this because Mary Kay is going to provide the money for me. But let's really look at it and say, I want to do this by this date, and how much do I have to work for that to happen? And would that motivate you to work more if you had something that was a dream for you? So, so I feel like what I'm learning from this visioneering book and what it's brought up for me is I need to pray about what God has envisioned for me. I need to trust him, maybe wait on him, but what can I do while I'm waiting? And so that brings about the future. So I think the first thing is we find our purpose in Mary Kay. What is our purpose here? And then what am I no longer okay living without? And it could be monetary, but it might not be monetary. Because you have to really want it bad enough to continue to be here. Like, you guys are pretty faithful. You're here every week. You're trying to do new things, but what is going to really motivate you, because you know what your purpose is? And we say a lot of times, what is your why? So it could be your why, it could be your purpose, vision, your dream, whatever that means for you. But I think it's important that we all get clear about that. And then I think it would be good to share it with each other, and then share it with our prospects and say, this was what I really decided this year I wanted to do with my Mary Kay money, and this is what's happened. This came to fruition because I kept working. And then unwavering, U stands for unwavering faith and belief. So I think we kind of have to guard our dream, because there are going to be people that are, that we might call vision vandals or goal gobblers, or I don't know. They don't like our dreams, whatever it is. There could be people that are like, why do you want to work that hard? Why do you want to keep doing that? There's going to be people that can be negative. So you just need to have your unwavering faith and belief. If you are praying about it and this is what God has called you to do, then you continue to have unwavering faith and belief. And then T stands for time management. So I think this is a challenge for me. This is a challenge for everybody because it's not like any of us are just sitting around doing nothing all day. We have other things we're doing, right? So it's a choice. And so, am I busy designing my life or am I just being busy? So it might mean you need to look at your time and say, where am I spending my time? And is there something that's a good thing, but I don't need to be doing it right now because this is my dream, this is my vision, and Mary Kay is my vehicle to get there. So this is where I have to spend my time. And then U stands for you, the new, and the few. So if you don't have recruits, then it's all about you. Work with you. Who are you going to book? Who are you going to facial? If you are recruiting people, your focus is on the new, and then the few people that are like have the willingness to want to do more. And then R stands for resolve to master your skills. Is there a skill area that you need work on? And if so, is that something you need to talk to me about that I can help you with? Or is there some area in Mary Kay you could get on Mary Kay in Touch and do the training on that? And then hone those skills. If it's that you need to get better at doing faces, then book the faces. If you need to get better at booking, then you just practice booking. If you need, like, I feel like I am in a place where I need to do better again at recruiting. And so I want to master my skills in recruiting better again. I've done it before, but I've kind of been out of the practice. And then E stands for emotional management. So this is it's kind of a choice. I mean, sometimes there's more emotions there than you want. If you want to be in a good, emotionally healthy and mentally stable state. And so if you feel like you're not, then sometimes that means, get the help you need. If you need to go to a counselor, if you need to be more in the word, whatever that is for you, or what helps you daily be more emotionally managed. Do you need to listen to music? Do you need to read? Do you need to, whatever that is that helps you? And then that way that kind of helps you. So I think we do all of these things while we pray for God to show us what that vision is and know what our purpose is. And then I think He will orchestrate it, as we saw today in the visioneering book. If He's given it to you, then He's going to help you and equip you to do it. But we just have to stay tied to Him and stay focused on what our vision is and not get off track. So, okay, what are y'all's thoughts about this? You guys seem really... Everybody's...
It always seems like I'm the one talking.
Okay.
But I think I understand what you're saying. And
Okay.
I think it's important because for a long time I've asked God to help me do this, but I realized I was just wanting me for a long time, and I keep thinking, I keep asking God, help me find the people that I can help.
Mm-hmm.
And, but you're right about the recruiting. I don't ask them and I don't even think about it a lot of times, or maybe I think about it in the back of my head, but I haven't done that. And part of it was because I've been disabled and I didn't know how much help I could have them, but that's what you're here for.
Yeah. Yes.
But
That's
that's just, I mean, since I've been in this unit and stuff, I feel like I have a little bit of a crutch for you to help me with things like that. But I think that's all about it, is not just doing it just for you. It makes a big difference in your life.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, like it will help us, but if your focus is not just on yourself, and because I feel like I've seen people be my customers before and they end up selling something and they're not signed up with me. And I'm like, so they were looking for something. And in my head, I was thinking they weren't. And obviously they were. And so I missed that opportunity. I mean, maybe it wasn't supposed to be Mary Kay, but they're doing something. And so I missed my opportunity because I made it up in my mind and they really were looking for something more. And I just didn't ask them the question. And so you know, and that might have helped them and it could have helped me. So, I don't know. Any other thoughts from you guys, Jody or Stephanie?
Nope.
Stephanie's shaking her head no. I was going to let her
Okay.
go, but she's like, no. We'd love to hear your words of wisdom, Stephanie.
Yeah.
We really do. There,
Yeah,
see?
I have a dream and a vision for time.
You have what?
I said my dream and my vision is for time.
I can't, it's not coming through.
Something about time?
Yeah, I said my dream and my vision is for time.
Oh, for time,
Oh.
to have time. You know what? I mean, I feel that for sure. And so, um, I think that's, I mean, I'm praying about, is there something I'm not supposed to be doing that would give me more time? You know, like, am I saying yes to too many things, or am I doing things that are not bad things, but like, could I be doing something different? I don't know, you know, but that's something God can kind of help us with. Yeah. Time is a challenge for
Yeah,
sure.
I actually was telling Angela that, we have this weekly plan sheet that Mary Kay is. We have it through Mary Kay, and there was one director that was kind of talking about, you use your plan sheet to block off your time for everything. And I told Angela, I said, you know what I really think I need to do is I need to use it to track where I'm spending my time and where I can adjust my time to be more beneficial, where I can, like time that I'm sitting doing nothing, or maybe I'm not necessarily doing nothing, but I'm doing something else besides what I should be doing, and block that off. And it's like, okay, I need to be, have that non-negotiable time, and then set my weekly plan sheet so that, or my calendar, so that I have that out. Because, and here's another thing, Stephanie, I don't know if you've started listening to Ed Milet. I'm pointing my finger at you. I'm pointing my finger at me too, because I actually listened to him last week, and he was talking about how you can actually get 3 days in one day. So, and he talks about breaking your day up into 6-hour increments, and each 6 hours is one day. So he like literally gets 3 days of work done in 18 hours.
Mm.
And I was like, which is very interesting, which I really like Ed Milet, but a lot of times he talks too long, his podcasts. I'm looking through his podcast for the ones that are like 30, 40 minutes, so or less.
Yeah.
And this particular one was, I think, almost an hour, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and listen to it. So that was off of what you had said, Stephanie. But here, so you were asking what, kind of what we thought about what vision, what we thought vision was, dream was, and goal is. So, of course, we've all been told that a goal is a dream with a date put on it. But that, to me, that's not always true. I mean, a goal can sometimes be a piece of a goal. You can have like a micro goal off of this big macro goal. To me, the vision is something that's been given to you, that you've imagined, that you see yourself where you see yourself. And then the dream is accomplishing and actually visualizing yourself there, not just seeing yourself there, but actually visualizing the smell, the everything that you're going to see. And then the goal is, okay, this is a this is a God-given dream. Let me put a goal to it, and let me figure out what steps I have to do to get to there, and then planning your dates and your little micro goals in between. That's just me. But that's also all of the training that I've had in the last 12 years from Mary Kay, plus the training that I had probably, I don't know, 10 years prior to that in the beauty industry as well. So anyway.
No, I thought that was a good explanation of those. And I think for those of us, like for me, because I'm 55, part of a time thing is an energy thing. Like you might have the time in the day, but do you have the energy? If he's doing 3 6 hour, like some of it is an energy thing. And so for me, what I figured out in the last year too is just what do I need to do health wise, so that I have the energy that I need to do what I need to do in the time that I have. And so sometimes that's kind of hard to figure out, but um
Well,
you
he
know,
gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning as well. So,
yeah.
it's timing. I mean, but not everybody is a 5 o'clock person.
Mhm.
But it's proven though that if you do get up earlier, you do add that extra time. But yeah, I mean, if you're sick, like I've been sick, and I'm still
Mhm.
like at 8 o'clock, I'm like, or actually 7 o'clock, I'm sitting here looking at the clock like, okay, when can I go to bed? Because I mean, it's drained your body, you're exhausted, you're physically and mentally exhausted because you're drained. So, and just like you and I were talking when we were in Granbury, and all of us, I mean, we have our peak time and then we have our time when we start going down and we don't perform as much. And Ed Milet actually does, he states that, he talks about that, he talks about that you plan your day according to when your peak time is and when you're and your anyway, it was just really interesting because I'm sitting here going, how do you get 3 days in one day? I'm
Yeah.
still not fully sold on it, but
You
it was
know how I do
interesting.
that is when I know I'm going to leave town and the day before I get 3 days worth of stuff done. That
There you
happens a
go.
lot. Or if someone's coming over to the house and then you get 3 days of getting the house clean and ready before they go. Sometimes something moves you and it works. So, all right. Well, thank you for y'all participating a little bit on this. So, because I know this is kind of hard, but I feel like part of where we are in Mary Kay, we have a lot of things we can do, a lot of different tasks, but um, we have to have this because this is what keeps us going. And this is the reason why we're doing it. And this is what will keep us sticking with this and not leaving, which, I'm kind of preaching to the choir because you guys are here. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and this time of year, we start thinking about it more because even though it's not our Mary Kay New Year, we're about to have a new year. And so it's kind of the time we start thinking, we evaluate our year, like our current, our past year and what we've done and what we haven't done and what our goals and visions and dreams are. And so I feel like Karen Rydell really impressed upon me, though, that talking about it with each other about what our dreams are and really being able to kind of tangibly show how some of those dreams are coming true will also help people want to be with us because they want their dreams to come true too. And so it's kind of both. So, any other thoughts or questions before we go?
Well, this is not on that, but the fall advanced class that they're having tomorrow at 7, where do we see that at?
Okay, I believe, sorry, and I meant to talk about that more. The company is doing a fall advanced class. And I am pretty sure that you just go to Mary Kay and Touch and then it'll be on there. But let me double check here. Oh yeah. Does it say on there?
No, it doesn't. And that's why I'm like, where is it?
So what does it say right below their pictures where it says, okay. Oh, it just says it's at 7 p.m. Central. Um, I feel like I can double check and see if there's something else I can find on it. But I felt like you would I think you go to Mary Kay and Touch, and then it'll just be a link on the front page. That's what I
And
think.
it's 2 hours.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, they're saying there at the bottom it says consider hosting a watch party with your unit from 7 to 9.
yeah.
But surely they wouldn't make that be 2 hours. Surely they wouldn't.
Well, you could always get on and see. I mean, Gloria Mayfield Banks is very
Yeah.
motivating, and
Oh, and Kelly Collins is a great speaker too. So
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, definitely if you want to get, we were just talking about, hearing from other people, these would be good people to hear from. I am not going to be available tomorrow night, but if you are, definitely, and it's not like Zoom where your face is going to be on. So you could be listening to it and kind of doing other things too if you had to. But I'm pretty sure if you just go to Mary Kay in Touch, it's just going to be like a link right there that everybody can watch.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure.
Well,
I'll
and
see.
maybe they'll send an email out
Yeah, and they might do that where it
because
has.
they did send one out introducing it.
Yeah, so they might. And I meant to tell you guys more about that, and I kept forgetting. So thank you for bringing that up. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you guys for being on. We will have next week. We will have a meeting next week. Debbie's going to do the product knowledge, and we'll be doing some more practical Mary Kay stuff, which I think I'm going to train on. I think I'll see. Some of it's going to be on some things I learned at retreat about, coming up with your list and booking and all of that stuff. So I think that would be good for all of us. So we'll probably do that. But I'll see if God tells me to train on something else. But I think it'll be a practical Mary Kay week, so we'll do some of that. And if good luck with all of your selling and doing and finding your vision and handling your time management, all the things that we're all doing. So thank you guys so much for being on, and thanks for doing product knowledge, Jody. Okay, y'all have a good evening. Okay, see you later.